Hello class, this is my video on listening. So, how can you tell when someone is listening to you? I was taught to show you are actually listening by looking somebody in their eyes when they're speaking to you, which for the most part, in my opinion, is still considered to be true. How I know someone is engaged in what I'm saying, they look me in my eyes, and I don't mean by staring at me, more so gazing in my direction to show that I have their attention. Secondly, which the text talks about, as one of the stages of listening, is responding. You ever express something to someone in detail and they respond with, okay, or you ask them a question and they say, can you repeat that? 9 times out of 10, they weren't using mindful listening and their responses don't add up to what you were saying. How does it make you feel when someone is not listening to you? Depending on the situation, most times if someone isn't really listening to me, I just stop talking and carry on with my day. I don't tend to put much energy into it because I know 9 times out of 10 I'm going to get upset or mad, which I don't want to give that energy to anyone. The only time I say I feel away is if it's something important to me or it's something that must be heard by the other person. I have a feeling of irritation come over me, which puts me in a defense mode. Please describe in detail a time when you felt like you weren't being listened to and you were saying something very important. Who was the interaction with? How could you tell they weren't listening to you? Did their failure display the appropriate listening behaviors affect your relationship with them? Did it affect your motivation to tell them important things in the future? Please explain. A time that I can recall feeling like I wasn't being listened to was back in high school. My mom told me that I couldn't go to senior prom. We had recently moved to the city over from the high school I had been going to from 9th through 12th grade. Since I was no longer in that school district, I had to finish the rest of my senior year at a new school. I expressed to my mom that I still wanted to go to prom at the school I spent my whole high school career at because that's where my friends were and that's the place I knew the best. She cut me off and told me no because she didn't feel like driving the 20 minutes up the road for me to go to prom at my old school. So I covered my bases and I asked one of my friends' mothers if they would mind picking me up and dropping me back off at home so I can go to prom at the other school, which they said yes to. So I told my mom, but for some reason she still told me no. So as she told me no, I expressed to her like, hey mom, it's just something very important to me. I want to go to the school, so where all my friends at. And I was like just pouring out to her the reasons why I really wanted to go to prom at the old school. But her answer was still no, and I could not figure out why. She didn't want to hear my reasons or anything. Until this day, like I still think about the conversation over and over, and I'm still upset 10 years later because I didn't go to senior prom. I wouldn't say that our relationship has changed, but it just made me feel like important things in my life she don't really take heed to, and for that I really don't tell her important things no more.